This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live.
Hello and welcome to the Sunday Lunchtime Show. Thanks for joining me. Today's topic is creative writing in English language teaching. And to talk to me about this, Larbi Arbawi is going to join me from Morocco.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live. Tune in live at ttradio.org, or to join in the conversation, download the Podbean app and search Teachers Talk Radio. Follow the hashtag TTRadio. Tune in, talk it out with Teachers Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Sunday Lunchtime Show, everyone. I'm Graham Stanley, speaking to you live from Mexico City. On today's show, I'll be talking to Larbi Arbawi about exploring the role of creative writing in helping English language students express their creativity and improve their English through writing stories. Moulay Larbi Arbawi is an English teacher with nearly 2 decades of experience. In addition to teaching, Larbi is co-author of student textbooks for primary education and is the director of creative writing programs at the American Foundation Olive Seed. In this role, he spearheads a national short story writing contest in Morocco, which has already resulted in the publication of 2 anthologies featuring student work. Larbi combines a passion for language education with a commitment to fostering creative expression among students. And I will be talking to Larbi about this and more after the Teachers Talk Radio news.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out. Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading.
Introducing Reading Solutions UK. Home to Dreambox Reading Plus, the online reading development programme, improving outcomes for students and schools nationwide. Create stronger readers in your school from Key Stage 2 to beyond GCSE, using Reading Plus's evidence-based adaptive technology. Reading Plus accurately assesses your students' skills gaps and places them on a personalised learning pathway, built to accelerate their strengths and improve on their areas for development. You can try the program with a free 4-week pilot today. Search Reading Solutions UK to find their website and request your free pilot today.
How can you show your students the opportunities that await them? How can you fuel their aspirations and motivate them to achieve? Future Careers provides a wealth of stimulating resources aimed at encouraging 14 to 19-year-olds to pursue careers in STEM and SHAPE. We help you to show your students what they can aim for and how. From articles to activity sheets, animations to podcasts, all our resources align with Gatsby benchmarks and are free for you and your students to download. Visit futurumcareers.com and subscribe today. Futurum Careers, helping teachers to inspire the next generation.
Get set for the year ahead with the Bloomsbury Education Back to School sale. Save 30% on all Bloomsbury education books until 30th September. From the very best in research-led practice to trusted advice on inclusivity, behaviour and curriculum design, we've got something for everyone. Visit bloomsbury.com/B2S sale to shop now and save 30%. Bloomsbury Education, books for every step of your teaching journey.
Teachers, mark your calendars for BetUK 2025, the world's biggest EdTech event. Join over 30,000 educators at the Excel London from the 22nd to the 24th of January. Discover the latest EdTech innovations, network with peers and access hundreds of hours of CPD. Did we mention it's 100% free for educators? Whether you're looking for inspiration or practical tools to enhance your teaching, BET has it all. Don't miss this opportunity to shape the future of education. Register today at uk.betshow.com. That's uk.betshow.com.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and this is Teachers Talk Radio News.
The government has published its call for evidence for its wide-ranging curriculum review. In a feature by Schools Week, details of the process are given. The consultation will last for 8 weeks, until November the 22nd. According to the Department for Education, questions are going to be as open as possible, and they welcome responses from all interested parties, including young people and parents. An interim report is scheduled to be published in early 2025, with a final report and recommendations in autumn 2025. The chair of the review said straightforward changes could happen quickly, although government has committed to giving schools a year's notice for major curriculum and assessment reforms. The review also makes clear positives but states there are parts of the system that require improvement, particularly SEND and those pupils from poorer backgrounds. Some potential outcomes are also listed, which could include ways to alleviate some of the pressure and constraints on learners and educators, reduce the assessment burden and consider well-being, and making sure the curriculum is inclusive and accessible for all. The review may also offer commentary on the impact of accountability measures. The chair of the review, Professor Becky Francis, also told Schools Week that the biggest challenge for the review was to ensure its reforms did no harm or have unintended consequences. Alongside the call for evidence, the government has also published a study of curriculum subject trends over time to aid our evidence-led conversation, they said. Some of the data shows significantly higher numbers of students taking Maths A-level, art continuing to thrive at GCSE, but design and technology subjects faring worst over time. Further details of the statistics can be found on the Schools Week website. The Metro News website covers a story about a state secondary school which has made it into the final 3 for the World's Best School Prize for supporting healthy lives. The award was founded by the T4 Education and celebrates schools around the world that really understand their role in fostering healthy habits, behaviours, knowledge and skills. The Hindu Faith School is for pupils aged 11 to 19, and whilst their ethos is drawn from the Vaishnavist tradition of the faith, they are fully inclusive. Anyone who wants to apply to the school is able to. As well as following a traditional curriculum, the free school also teaches extra subjects like yoga, philosophy, ethics and Sanskrit. Their website says, "We put an equal emphasis on the highest academic achievement alongside the development of character and spiritual insight." The 2 other schools in the final are based in Italy and Singapore. The BBC Wales website reports that teachers could be asked to swear an oath against inappropriate relationships with pupils. A motion due to be considered by Flintshire Council could see teachers and school staff pledge in front of a manager not to form intimate relationships with students. It follows the court case of a former head teacher jailed for 17 years after being found guilty of sexual abuse. Education Union NASUWT said introducing an oath would show shocking contempt for teachers and would only bring the teaching profession into disrepute. ASCL has said it would be willing to discuss the proposal. The BBC National News website reports on new guidance for disabled students. The Equality and Human Rights Commission has published new guidance setting out what universities must do to comply with laws. Universities must proactively support disabled students rather than wait for them to ask for help. It follows the death of Bristol University student Natasha Abrahart, whose parents contributed to the new guidance. Universities must now actively seek out and adopt best practice and show real commitment to understanding and meeting diverse needs. Finally, Schools Week reports that some pupils with additional needs will be able to listen to white noise or music during their exams this year. Schools will also be able to use mental health support service referral letters to apply for extra support to ensure young people aren't disadvantaged by long waiting lists. The changes are included in the updated JCQ guidance on adjustments schools can request. SENCOs can now apply for pupils who are classed as having a substantial impairment to listen to music or white noise. This would apply to those with social, emotional and mental health needs or with a sensory impairment such as tinnitus. These adjustments apply to GCSE, A-level, BTEC and T-level qualifications. Schools must make sure devices playing the music or white noise cannot be connected to the internet, and the playlist must be checked. The change meaning schools can use a referral to CAMHS or NHS trusts has also been welcomed, as waiting lists for specialist services are growing. Full details of all the changes can be found on the JCQ website. This has been your Teachers Talk Radio News with Joe Fox.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, I'm talking to Larbi Arbawi about creative writing. So how are you, Larbi?
I'm very good, thank you. And you?
Pretty good. What have you been up to
good.
today?
Well, I know it's Sunday morning, so we have just, taken some rest. And, well, I'm here, live at Radio Teacher Talk.
Yes. So, Larbi, what I'd love to do before we talk about creative writing and English language teaching is hear about how you became a teacher, how you got interested in education. What was your journey like towards becoming a teacher?
Well, this is really a good question, Well, actually, in Morocco, as in maybe many countries where job opportunities are limited, securing a stable employment often becomes a higher priority than pursuing a dream job, So ideally, I would have, envisioned myself as a traveler or a researcher in languages and anthropology. However, the pressure to secure a stable job was always present, even though I wasn't in a kind of, financial need, nor was my family dependent on my income. But the desire for financial independence pushed me to sit for teacher's entry exam. So I passed, and after a year of intensive professional training on matters of teaching English as a foreign language, I began teaching in a remote village. That was my starting point.
Wow.
With the teaching. So initially, teaching wasn't something I had kind of envisioned for myself, but the experience, changed me a little bit. The village, placed immense trust and respect in me, and I would like, to thank them, for this from this platform, which moved me a little bit, deeply, and I want to give back something to the community. And
Fantastic.
The best way to do that was by working diligently with love and dedication. So my goal was not just to teach, but to instill a genuine love for English language, literature, and so forth and so on in my students. To my delight, let's say I succeed in this mission, and this wouldn't be, possible, without the help of my senior, colleagues and my educational supervisor, who was, a very active, ELT teacher in Morocco in general. So Mr. Mohammed Hassim, I would like to thank him, for helping me out set foot on this career and this professional the job. So,
wonderful.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit more about the school that you worked in this remote community? Was it a primary school? Was it a secondary school?
It was a secondary school, and that was the first time they introduced English to the secondary school, and I was supposed, to
Wow.
teach the third year middle school student.
So
So
you were breaking new ground then.
yeah. That was the first time, for the students to hear about a school subject called English,
Yeah.
and that was the first time, for them, to learn English. So it
So
was really
they were
amazing.
total beginners then, I imagine.
Yes, but I mean, they are totally beginners, in learning English, but their age, ranges, for 14 years to up to 17 years old, and they already had, French as one of the other foreign languages, but English was something that they were really excited, to learn, and because they have families living abroad, and once they visit, some of them, use English. But at that time, only few who could recognize, make differences between English or Dutch or other Germanic languages. So yeah, apart from French, everything is called English.
and so it was easy to motivate these students because they had family members living abroad, the relevance of speaking the language. Is that right?
Yes. I think, you would share me the same opinion that the first, step for a successful teaching career is once you secure the attention and the motivation of students. So once you get that, I think, your job as a teacher would be so easy. So thankfully, I had their curiosity, their attention, their motivation. So I really did my best and all that I could, so that to meet, their expectations, and we really managed, to have good, relation and good, free anxiety atmosphere at our classes.
Fantastic. And Larbi, what about your own English? Did you learn English at a very early age? What was it that motivated you, or that led you to learn English to such a high degree?
Well, actually, my career is a little bit, different. Not different, from those students that I taught at the first years of my teaching career. Actually, I was grown up in a little town called Tinashed, and we didn't have that kind of resources where we can learn English, perfectly well, like the people in the cities have. They have language centers. They have, access to libraries. They have so many things that can enhance, their learning journey. But as far as I'm concerned, being with those very limited access, to learning, we had another advantage that I think, worked for our side, which was, my town was a kind of a touristic, let's say, town. And we used to have a lot of tourists coming around and stopping just to see, because they came, from Merzouga to Tinrir, which is a little bit a long distance. So they need to take a rest, to stop for a while to have a tea or just water, or to use a toilet or something like that. So I seized the opportunity and, try, to interact with those tourists at the beginning. So we try now to pick up, few words for expressions, and I really liked that atmosphere of their lifestyle and things like that. So this would be considered as a motivation for me to learn English. And there was a very good song that I used to listen to by, a friend, a relative, I didn't understand all the words, but I loved the musicality. I loved, the singing.
Yeah.
So I tried, my best, to learn English. So we started learning English officially at, let's say, high school, which
Yeah.
is, secondary. We call it here in Morocco, lycée,
Yeah.
or yes, it's kind of, 10th grade.
Right.
And we had a very good teacher. He really helped us love this language.
What
And
What was it about the teacher that made or that helped everyone become interested in learning the language?
well, I was grown up, in a kind of a conformist school where everything should be sit in line, following the rules,
Yeah.
ask for permission when you want to speak, sit, tightly, maybe hand cross, things like that, But this teacher gave us a kind of a different, experience inside the class. He's a kind of a do whatever you like. I mean, feel free to move, feel free to talk. There is nothing that is called a, one style of learning or a one very ideal model of a class. So he was encouraging us, to learn, giving us the chance to speak or to make mistakes, to just say anything we want and asking questions. And he brought us a lot of songs, I remember that Tuesday lesson, it was about listening to a song and repeating after that, learning the vocabulary. And so that human and let's say, that personal rapport between the teacher and students really created kind of trust and a readiness to learn more, from that teacher.
Right. And what about the role of fiction, given that your special interest at the moment is creative writing? Did you start reading books in English during that time, or did that come later?
Well, I think that came later, because the textbooks that we used to have at that time, barely had any fictional text. English that we were taught was mainly grammar, focusing on structures, on functions, on how to use language, but not how to live the magic of language. I mean, to read a poem or to listen to a song or to read a story or just a passage of a novel or something like that. That was a little bit, absent at the curriculum of English at my time. So, and as I said before, that we didn't have access to libraries where we can read books or until, kind of later time when we had a Peace Corps volunteer, from the US at the youth house. There I would say that I learned a lot from those guys, and they did their effort and they made a very good, effort, to bring books to the library, which is typically Arabic or French or.
Right. Okay. And so when did you develop the interest in fiction and language learning, in particular ELT, and in using writing as a way of interacting and engaging with learners?
Well, I can say that the love for literature was, something that I used to have. I had. Sorry. I was reading books in Arabic. I was reading stories and novels, and I really had that great experience, when I started reading for Khalil Gibran, who used to be a very famous, who happened to be a very famous author at that time. And when we were introduced to the literary movement of Romanticism, and reading all those books really had a positive impact on my heart as a teenager and as an adolescent that started to discover love and things like that. So those books were really amazing, and they enkindled that kind of flame in my heart and love towards literature. But later on, as a teacher, I became actively involved in teachers' forums, and meetings, sometimes even as a speaker in the Moroccan associations of teachers of English that used to have those annual and regional colloquiums, conferences, etc. So one particular school year, we recorded, an unusual high drop-out rate. And after discussing the issue with the administration, I realized that the root of the problem was cultural, and it needed to be addressed with, this understanding. Because, at that place where I started my teaching career, girls are, didn't used to have that chance, to continue their studies after primary education. Not most of them had that privilege because, of a cultural issue or a societal issue that is there. So this, realization inspired me to write my first play, and it's called Aisha, the Talented Student. Which told the story of a brilliant student forced to leave school by her parents because of kind of shame or stigma or something that will befallen them if they let their student, complete her studies after middle school. So I was really touched by that girl who was crying at my class, and when I asked her what happened, and she told me her story, so I decided, to write that play, and we acted it out inside the classroom. And we went a little bit far to the another city called Zagora in a talent show, and we performed that. People loved that, and we managed to talk with her family with the help of other contributors in the parent associations and administration, and we convinced her family, to let their child, complete her studies because she was brilliant. And guess what? Now, she's an engineer.
Wow,
right
that's amazing.
Yes, I really love that story now. And
so, how old was the girl when she was persuaded or forced by her parents to drop her studies?
That was kind of 14 years old or 15, not to be sure, and that was in 2009.
Right. And she approached you and told you what had happened, and she was very upset.
She didn't want to tell me in the beginning because when I was giving my lesson, I noticed that she just bent on the table and covered her face. So I was asking her what happened, and she didn't want to answer. And her friend who was sitting there next to her told me, "Teacher, her parents are going to stop her from coming to school." So that's why she was so annoyed.
And just so I can understand a little bit better, the reason why the parents didn't want her to go to school was because they wanted her to work, or was it because they thought that education wasn't of any use to her? Or was it something else?
Actually, it is a very complicated issue. When you try not to approach it, you need to understand a little bit, the social and cultural background of that place. They are a little bit, conservative, and allowing female students, to travel, to move from their own very, very small village or countryside and go to another town or just nearby village to complete her studies, where she would live in a school campus away from her family, because the school is not there. She has to move.
Right.
She has to travel. So that created kind of uncertainty and kind of, let's say, issue at the parents' way of thinking. So they would say, well, at least she has got her own primary education, and that is what a girl need. And later on, she had to wait for her future husband and start a family.
Right. So it's about the family not wanting the girl to move. They wanted to keep the girl close to them, rather than
monitor them and supervise them and keep them at the reach
and then
of
they
their
had
eye. So
expectations that the girl was going to basically get married rather than become the engineer she did.
Yeah. And this is really sad. And this is, Aisha, she is just an example of so many girls who drop out of school, just, because of the family issue, or because of the school is a little bit, far from where they live.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out. Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading.
Introducing Reading Solutions UK. Home to Dreambox Reading Plus, the online reading development program, improving outcomes for students and schools nationwide. Create stronger readers in your school from Key Stage 2 to beyond GCSE, using Reading Plus's evidence-based adaptive technology. Reading Plus accurately assesses your students' skills gaps and places them on a personalised learning pathway, built to accelerate their strengths and improve on their areas for development. You can try the program with a free 4-week pilot today. Search Reading Solutions UK to find their website and request your free pilot today.
How can you show your students the opportunities that await them? How can you fuel their aspirations and motivate them to achieve? Future Careers provides a wealth of stimulating resources aimed at encouraging 14 to 19-year-olds to pursue careers in STEM and SHAPE. We help you to show your students what they can aim for and how. From articles to activity sheets, animations to podcasts, all our resources align with Gatsby benchmarks and are free for you and your students to download. Visit futurecareers.com and subscribe today. Future Careers, helping teachers to inspire the next generation.
Get set for the year ahead with the Bloomsbury Education Back to School sale. Save 30% on all Bloomsbury education books until 30th September. From the very best in research-led practice to trusted advice on inclusivity, behaviour and curriculum design, we've got something for everyone. Visit bloomsbury.com/B2S sale to shop now and save 30%. Bloomsbury Education, books for every step of your teaching journey.
Teachers, mark your calendars for Bet UK 2025, the world's biggest EdTech event. Join over 30,000 educators at the EXCEL London from the 22nd to the 24th of January. Discover the latest EdTech innovations, network with peers and access hundreds of hours of CPD. Did we mention it's 100% free for educators? Whether you're looking for inspiration or practical tools to enhance your teaching, Bet has it all. Don't miss this opportunity to shape the future of education. Register today at uk.betshow.com. That's uk.betshow.com.
And so, Larby, that inspired you to write a story based on this. Sorry, a play based on her story.
Yes, a play.
Had you ever written before, or was it something you were interested in, but had this was the kind of the push to make you write the play?
Yeah, well, as I told you, you cannot just go directly to the family and talk with them. It's a little bit, challenging, So
Yeah.
you have to approach, the issue from your educational point of view and from your position as a teacher who is supposed to go there, deliver their own lessons and leave. So
Yeah.
but we were not that kind of teachers. We try not to make a positive impact on the culture of the society as well. So this experience of addressing a complex issue through storytelling or through, telling the story right sparked my interest in creative writing. So then I became more fascinated by how really stories, especially this one that we performed on stage, and it was the first time in Zagora to have a play performed in English language, and that was, I mean, it did a kind of good to the students and to the system in general.
Okay, and you performed the play to your class first, or was it to the whole school?
Yes, we perform it first. During rehearsals at extracurriculum activities. It's not during the class, but we had an extra time and space, a classroom dedicated to these kind of activities.
Right.
We did the rehearsals, with the students, and we later on performed it for the whole school. But the best part is when we traveled, from our own small village, to Zagora, which was.
So how did that
city.
happen? So was it the reaction was positive when you performed the play at your own school?
Yes.
Was it the school leader? Was it your principal that suggested taking this to another place? Or
actually, as I said, I was a little bit, active at the Moroccan Association of Teachers of English, and I discussed this with a teacher, a friend of mine, who Mr. Manawi, who invited me to Zagora, saying that they are organizing a student talent show, and all the activities are going to be in English. So I really received, the invitation with joy and happiness. So we discussed this with the administration, and they said, well, we cannot afford, to pay for all your travels and your tickets, etc. So I discussed with the Association of Students' Parents, and they were really, they gave us, an amount of money that is enough.
Oh, wonderful!
To secure our ticket. But the mate, or the Moroccan Association of Teachers of English, also when we arrived there, they give us a kind of a paycheck to cover for our charges, our food, and our stay there for that day in Zagora.
Fantastic.
So that was great. And the story, the play, the performance was recorded, and it's on YouTube. Even it's on
wonderful.
a little bit bad quality, but that worked.
That's fantastic. And talk to us a little bit about the actual story. Was it a story with a happy ending? Was it a play that ended with the girl actually being able to continue her studies, or was the ending not so?
No,
happy?
I didn't know at the time that she would continue her studies, or she would be an engineer or something like that. I was just telling or explaining the phenomenon, and there was kind of comparing her to her brother, who has I dropped out of school as well. And he came to voice a very interesting and powerful message, which is now the world needs brains, skills, competencies, not muscles. I had muscles and I couldn't secure a job. Okay? So it don't be like me. Don't have don't do the same issue or mistake that I did.
Right.
And he was a kind of a protagonist, that helps, Aisha pursue her dream. And the ending was kind of, the world or the life would be a kind of an unhappy place if we listen to what malicious tongues might say.
Right.
Because the parents' concern at that time was, what would the villagers say about my daughter if I sent her to there? They would speak ill of her. They would, no. You see, so don't listen to the others. Listen to your kids. Follow them and try to encourage them, have a very good education.
So don't worry so much about public opinion or what others
Exactly.
think. You need to be able to let your children follow their heart and achieve what they need to achieve.
Perfectly well, yes. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's amazing, Larbi. And
Thank you.
So that was the moment that you realized the power of literature, of drama, of being able to, of storytelling with students. When did you start actually getting the students to write their own stories?
Yeah, this is another story. After some time, working kind of 5 years working in that remote village, I had to move to another place where I believe that I can professionally develop, more. So I came to learn that there is an American woman who has set up a kind of a educational project, and she sends books to teachers who would like to create a small library at their schools.
Right.
So I got her contact and emailed her, and she was Barb Makraz, and she was really an amazing woman who did a lot of good, to the community in Morocco and elsewhere. So I got her email and I emailed her, and after a while I received a lovely box of books full of illustrated stories, amazing brand new books that really invite you to read. So there I started a small library at my school, and I start to encourage, my students, to read books, and that was the beginning. Is creating a community of readers. So,
wonderful.
Yeah. So later on,
So
I
this was
also.
this was the Olive Seed Foundation.
That's right. Yeah,
Right.
Olive Seed Foundation had a project called Morocco Library Project, and their main mission is to equip remote schools, with books of from the choice of the teachers, and
Right.
but as I said, that didn't stop, at this end, because as teachers of English in Morocco, they had also a very good initiative, and they created an association called Morsenet, and this experience is a very good one, because they worked very hard to get a very generous grant that they used to buy readers, a lot of readers, a MP3 player, flashcards, and a lot of other educational resources that will help teachers start their own reading clubs. And they created 100 resource center all over Morocco. So
Right.
that was one of the let's say the positive projects that also helped or contributed, to this reading community.
Fabulous. And in
Yeah.
your own class,
Yeah.
in your own school, you then had a reading club. Was that right, with these books?
Yes. Was the problem in Moroccan schools is that you've got a lot of books. I mean, in libraries and things like that. But sometimes, they are a little bit, advanced or beyond the level of the student, or sometimes, they lack that kind of attractiveness,
Yeah.
because a beginner should be attracted by a simple story with attractive illustrations, and why not some comprehension activities by the end, because they are not reading for fun. They are try to read to learn. They are reading to learn English. So the text should not be challenging. The 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 structure should not be challenging, and bit by bit they will develop this reading habit, and they will develop and enhance their language skills. Therefore, they will opt for a little bit, advanced text. So once I moved again, I think,
Yeah.
projects, starting off by changing places,
Right.
I moved
Okay.
to Fez in 2018, and
Yeah.
also, I was a little bit, active doing this and that. But after COVID-19,
Yeah.
there was, I mean, not after it, but during COVID-19, there was a lockdown and people were locked in their homes and houses and things like that. So we had some online project, and here where I approached Barb again and told her that we need to start to organize a little bit, the clubs and the libraries that we have organized in Morocco. It's not enough to give students, books and ask them to read, but it's high time we ask them to produce something out of those books. Because as Mr. Hasim has once written, the reader is the father of the writer. So once a reader, yes, tomorrow is a writer. So we came with this idea of organizing a national contest for short story writing.
Right.
I discussed with Barb all the details of this. She was so supportive and she liked the idea. And we started, to put everything together and to come up with a plan.
Fantastic.
That was, so that was the first or the initial steps. And I reached out to my friends, to my colleagues, the ones that I know have the same passion as I do. I reached out to them and I say, well, I'm going to share with you an idea. And as Morocco Library Project, we are going to launch a short story contest. And I would love your student, to take part. They say, yeah, that is a good idea.
Did that happen? So did that, Larbi, happen during the pandemic, or was that after the pandemic now?
It's actually now immediately after the pandemic, the pandemic started, the lockdown started in 2020 in Morocco on 16 March, I guess. We were asked, to stay at in-house. And during that time, we started thinking about our project. But in 2021, we launched and we collected, the stories. After organizing some workshops for the students to teach them the element of writing a short story, because it's not easy, to tell students, come on, go ahead, just write a short story and send it to us. That doesn't work, and that will not work, because you need to teach students a little bit about the how to write an effective story, how to tell their story.
So that's definitely something I want to explore with you. How do you approach this with students? How do you get them to start writing?
Well, I would say that myself as a teacher, I was in great need of learning this craft or this skill, because there are people who believe that an author is born, or there is something that is innate in you that will bring you as an author. But I would say that learning the skills and the craft of writing is a necessity. You need to learn everything related to telling stories before you start telling one. So I, with the help of Bob as well, I contacted Peter Lucas, who is an American author based in Morocco, and I discussed with him this matter, and he was really supportive as well, and he was just ready to give classes online for students, teaching them on how to start writing and things like that. So at the beginning, we started with the idea of getting teachers on board, explaining to them the project, and helping them understand how to write a very good short story. And later on, they will be in charge of teaching their students who are going to participate. So it's thanks to the effort of these teachers of English and their dedication and encouraging their students, these kind of projects, so light. So without their help, without their insight into the project, this won't be possible, to happen.
Right.
So this is how we worked. This is the structure.
So you approached it through teacher development to help
Exactly.
teachers, giving them workshops in how to teach writing, how to encourage short story writing with students. Is that right?
Effectively, yes. Yes.
Wonderful. And so imagine if you're a teacher, you want to get involved, you want to get your students to start writing short stories. It's the first time you're approaching this with a class. How do you do it?
Well, yes. Well, first, I would say that any teacher who would like to start this kind of project, with their student, he or she needs to know that there will be a very interesting learning experience in the process. You will learn a lot of things, not only teach things, to your student. So it needs a lot of planning. You need to have an idea about teaching creative writing, and you need to have some materials up your sleeves. Because
when you say materials, you mean excerpts of short stories, that kind of thing?
First, you need to have, for example, thoughtful planning, as I said, and a reflexive approach. I mean, depending on the age group and proficiency level of your student. So you need to have all these these ideas in mind. Based on these, you will try now to start, planning your lessons. So first, you need to discuss with your students the importance of writing something, the importance of sharing your ideas with the world an effective tool of enhancing your English language.
Mhm.
And you can start by giving some model stories, for students to read. I guess, this is the starting point. Develop that love of reading. Choose carefully very good stories, for students to read.
Do
Later on,
you have a particular favorite story to start with teenagers, for example, 14-year-olds, for example?
14 years old, it depends. I would say, for example, we have some simplified stories for Huckleberry Finn,
Hmm.
the adventures of Huckleberry Finn of Mark Twain. And we have very good titles that would work with the let's say the interest of that age group. But any kind of story that is there on your shelves would do the job. You just first need to discuss this with your students a lot. Get them ready. Get them ready to put ink on that paper. Get them ready to explore more ideas, because writing is not necessarily teaching grammar, teaching structures and functions and that, let's say, very complicated vocabulary. No, as far as I'm concerned, writing is just letting it go, expressing some good ideas, some moments of happiness, of joy, of anger, of love, of things like that. So as I suggest, for example, teaching beginner students, it's sure it can be about exciting and rewarding, but you need, I guess, to start with certain activities like picture prompts. For example, this is one technique that you can use with your students. For example, use images to spark creativity and imagination, and you just need to show, for example, students a picture like a busy street or magical forest or a group of people, etc., and ask them to write 3 to 5 sentences describing what's happening in the picture. Who are the characters? What is the city? What do they think will happen next? So this will work, because beginners often find it easier to write things they have a visual reference to.
Yes.
So it helps them, connect words with images and removes those pressures of starting from the blank page, or that's happened even to us, as let's say, as old people or young. The difficult one is that starting point, when you start to write about something.
Of course.
But, another activity, if you allow me, we are just talking about a little bit, approaches or techniques that we can use, or activities that we can use, with the teaching creative writing. So I talked a little bit about the picture prompts or images, and maybe the second one can be a fill in the story. So you provide a partial story or
a framework, basically.
A framework, that is, because in everything, even in writing paragraphs, what we really do is we start with controlled writing before we move to free writing. So this fill in the story, you just bring a model of a story where students need, to complete things like one day a cat found a magic hat, and later on that. Then you need to give some space for the students, to come up with some really good stuff. So another activity maybe like word bank stories, where students have to build stories, from selections of vocabulary words. This is a little bit, Yeah, challenging. But once you provide, for example, 5 to 10 new familiar words, like a tree or a happy or jam, sky, magic, or you can provide them in flashcards.
Yeah.
Okay, and you ask students, to work in group or individually and give a set of cards, to everyone and try to link them to each other and try to come up with an activity with an story. So
Hmm.
this one helps expand, vocabulary and encourages students, to think about how words can be used, creatively in different contexts. Also, we have sentence stretching, and I love this activity really, really well because it helps beginners develop descriptive writing skills,
Hmm. Hmm.
because you can give them a simple sentence like the cat sat, and it's up to them to add more words. For example, the beautiful cat, the fat cat sat on a mat, and the mat described the cat. How was she? Is happy, smiling, etc. So you will end up with a lot of sentences, from different groups or from different individuals. So this really develop, as I said, the descriptive writing skills, and teach them how to build more complex sentences. Even as a teacher, I always, insist on writing simple sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the let's say the professional writers, Hemingway, I used, very simple sentences, to, but the meaning and the let's say, the ideas and the message that was there is a little bit, powerful.
Of
uh,
course.
and this, in these activities of descriptions, it's really good, but you need also, to invite your students to use their five senses. Sometimes in writing classes, what we do when we describe the physical trait.
Hmm.
Most of the time we describe what we see, but in creative writing, you describe what you get through your five senses. You know,
Hmm.
sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. So in this activity, you can give students a setting, for example, in a forest or kitchen, a park. So at different places, they will give you different experiences. What do you smell? How do you feel when you are with this friend? Yeah, because most of the time we ask students, describe your friend, for example, describe your favorite animal or your favorite person. He would or she would describe that, perfectly well. But you would notice that the feelings there are missing. How do you feel when you are with that kind of person? How was your his or her smell? What kind of smell? What does it remind you of? Where that kind of smell takes you back? So all these experience, all these emotions, this is what a reader needs in every story. It needs to take him or her to a different place. Like Emily Dickinson wrote in her poem, "There is no frigate like a book." Yes, yeah, there is no frigate like a book that takes us lands away, nor any courses like a page of prancing poetry. So a book should take you to somewhere, which
Of
means,
course. Of course.
yeah.
So,
Uh,
Larby, what
mm,
about is it, do you encourage the students to write, as the suggestion goes, write about what they know? Or is it up to them if they want to, the genre of the short stories that they write? Or do you normally try and encourage them to talk about their own background? Is it based on their lives, or is it something completely outside of their lives, like something?
yeah, this is a very good question, and in the beginning, I just ask students, to write whatever they feel comfortable with.
Hmm.
Do whatever you feel good at. You can even retell another story. that is in your folk tale, or
Mm.
that you heard at when you were a child, or you see. So this is something that really matters, is get the student into the process of writing, or get them to love writing. It doesn't matter whether they write something they know, something they visioned, or something like that. But later on, in our short story contest, we try to set the theme of the contest. Like the last times one, we know that Morocco lived a very good dream, with football, and this experience, or this moment of glory, for the national team, brought a lot of brought the theme of family together. We noticed that the players brought their moms to the stadium to watch them while playing, and celebrate the success with their moms. So this gave another message, to the Moroccans, that family first, that family is really irreplaceable. So I discussed this with Bob, and I said, well, we need to have our students write about family resilience, and those ideas are still alive in their minds, because they live those moments of joy, they live those moments of happiness, seeing the players, kissing the hands or the forehead of their mothers. That brought some joy to them and fulfillment. So we need to have these students write something about how family, the notion of family in their life, and really we received great stories, And by the way, we finished, the process of writing, of putting together all these stories, and we will be proceeding with the publication of the book.
That's fantastic. And I see from the website that the three winners, out of the three winners, two were girls, yeah?
Yeah. Well, do you have a remark about that, Graham?
Oh, really?
Do you have? Yeah, because this is a kind of a trending, let's say, topic. Wherever you go, you find that girls are on on top of it. So we have nothing to do for that. As a teacher, I see that excellence and hardworking comes a lot, from the female students. Yeah. And I learned that this is something that is worldwide. So that is a little bit, we can explain that.
Yeah. And what about the motivation from making this a competition, a national competition? What kind of effect has that had? Has it encouraged teachers in the country to get their students writing? Has it motivated the students?
Yes. This is another interesting thing. Actually, motivation is something that is a must. Because here we are talking about extrinsic motivations, because the intrinsic motivations are there, for a lot of students, but we depended a lot on the dedication of the teachers who believed in our project, who believed that, let's say, writing should take its place among our activities, and who should encourage their students, to write. So first we got the motivated teachers who helped in turn motivate their students to write, and we set a very kind of symbolic prize. Okay. And it's a paperweight Kindle for the three top winners. We
Yeah.
give them a Paperwhite Kindle, a box of books, a certificate of recognition, and all the participant stories are participant, the student. We correct their stories.
Yeah.
We fix them a little bit, and we organize them in a very good anthology, and we publish it. And this is, I guess, the most rewarding thing for students, and this is the most motivating thing, is to see your name by other brilliant students in Morocco in a very lovely book published in the United States of America, and being circulated and being distributed to other schools. So I guess there is no joy as that one you can see in the eyes of students whose written story is published and shared and read by other colleagues. So we rely a lot on this as motivations. And this year, we bring them together, all those writers, in the first national gathering of students writers in Morocco. And we managed, with the help of and the support of an amazing woman, Gigi Williams. She's a very good and a very supportive, woman who helped us bring all these students together in Morocco and organize this 2 days event with accommodation and writing workshops conducted by real authors like Philip Brebna, Peter Lucas, David, and Rashid Khoya, who is a Moroccan writer. So these workshops helped them a lot, and the event in itself helped them a lot, which is done in collaboration with the Regional Academy of Fes, Meknes, and the Directorate of Education in Moulay Aqoud, where I work. So all this was of great importance to students, when they came to Fez and they meet another student from different city in very educational atmosphere, sharing their thoughts and reading their stories to the public. That was amazing.
Yes, I can imagine. And of course, having these stories in book form also means that you can use the books in classes, and
Yes,
teachers can use them as example stories for the students. They can. You talked earlier about how one of the difficulties with using books is actually the level of English in the books, and I'm
Yes.
imagining the level of English in these short stories is much easier to be able to use with students.
That is true. Actually, once we publish the books, we try now to distribute it and send it over to teachers who in turn, use it in their own libraries. And we have a very, let's say, live example of this is Mr. Mohammed Batahi, who has a very interesting reading club in his own school. And he used these stories because he said that students need something authentic, something they identify with. Texts who are written by Moroccan, just like them.
Yeah, culturally relevant as well.
Culturally relevant, and students just like them. This will give them more encouragement to say that, well, I can do it too. Sorry.
Yeah,
I can do that too. I can also write a book. So that is how we use these books. But as you might know, that the number of books that we publish is very limited.
Right.
Yeah, because actually we don't have the possibility now to visit book fairs in different places and try to exhibit or present our books, and hopefully get someone who would be in a position now to distribute them, just for continuity in order to keep the project sustainable. And
but they are available, at least I've seen one of them is available as a PDF from the website.
Yes, the first one is available on the website in a form of a PDF, and it is for free. And the second one, it's also for free now for student. We haven't yet uploaded, but I guess that I tried to put some books here in the bookstore in Fes, in a bookstore in Fes, and with a very symbolic price, just to repay the charges of publications, and because it's not a lucrative project and we are not seeking to make money out of it, but it would be helpful if we can pay the charges and pay the let's say the amount that we use for publication, because by the way, Olive Seed is a non-profit organization, and it depends on the fundraising of other people. And
of course,
yeah,
I do think it's probably a great idea if the books are available online. I think
that's a good idea.
That will get perhaps more attention to the project. So even if your idea is to try to actually get the books published in paper form, but if they are available online, it's probably you're more likely to get perhaps attention of people who can help you with perhaps funding paper copies, maybe.
Yes, I will jot that down. That is a very good idea.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think at least the book that is there, the PDF book, it's really interesting to be able to see this. This is the 2020 short story competition, the Student Voices from Morocco. And I think it's really good. I haven't read all of the stories, but I've had a brief look at it, and I love the illustrations as well. It's a really nicely put together publication.
Thank you. And the illustrations are done by a student as well, which means all the
Fantastic.
project is from student and back to the student. So the stories there are diverse and various. But the first one, if you read that, it's really amazing because it tackled an issue that is a little bit, new to the Moroccan society, and we don't have that much information about. And families really sometimes suffer because they don't have enough information on this autism issue. And that story of Aiden, my name is Aiden, and by Hiba Bakarti. She's a very good and brilliant student who approached the, let's say, the health issue of autism in a different approach and different way. And she was writing with the voice of an autistic girl who sees the world as weird, because normally her acts, her behavior is taken by the others as weird actions and weird behavior, but she was looking to the other, in between parentheses, normal people, as those who are weird, because they don't have the ability to accept someone who is a little bit, different from them. An autist, by the way, or in general, as she said, is just a different person, not a health or a mentally disabled person.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. It's not an issue. It's just another different character that we need to know and understand how to deal, or how to live all together with them inside one society. So
this is it's a really great thing to be able to get students to write about things like that. Did the writer have any experience of autism, a family member or a friend, or?
That was the question I asked her, when I traveled to her city of Terudent to give her own prize and gift. I asked her, do you really have this kind of issue? And she said, no, I don't. But she used to have a friend who suffered a lot, from bullying of her peers and students, because she was a little bit, different from them. Yeah, maybe this is where she got, the story, but it's a lovely story.
Yes, I'm. As I said, I've had a quick look at the anthology, and I will definitely read the stories. I look forward to it. It's a great. Not only is it a great resource for teachers in Morocco to be able to use stories written by students there based on, cultural and real life experiences that are from the country, but also it's a great window to the world. So it's a great way of showcasing the experience of students in Morocco for anyone like myself who would like to know a little bit more about it and also enjoy the storytelling aspect of it as well.
You are more than welcome, to
wonderful
to read the story.
So Larbi, is this a competition, for example, that you try to organize every year, or is it just impossible to do it on an annual basis?
That is the challenge, it's a little bit, challenging to organize it annually, but we managed, to organize it biannual. And this year, I'm about, to launch the fourth edition of the contest.
Wonderful. And do you have a theme in mind for it at the moment, or is that still to be decided?
I guess we have already talked a little bit about this year's theme with Barb and our friends like Alice Calaprice and Hockenberry and Gigi Williams, Philip Rebna. It would be, I think, about, I'm spilling the beans in.
Well, you don't have to say if you want to keep it.
Oh no, it's okay. No problem. It would have to do with civic education and how to help create a good citizen that respect, global values, have a common respect, for, and a mutual respect in society, including coexistence and tolerance and environments, respect to the environment, respect to the elders. So all these issues
sounds like a good theme. It's one that is particularly important nowadays, I think, and one that I'm sure that students would be encouraged to write about.
Yeah, I hope so.
So, Larbi, we're coming towards the end of our conversation. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you would like to speak about?
No, well, I really I think we have tackled so many issues related to the teaching of English in Morocco, and really focusing on creative writing, and because something that you do with love will yield results that are a little bit good or different in general.
Yeah, no, I really like the way, as you've explained it, that you had that aha moment, that eureka moment, when you realize that the student that you had in class those years ago, their story deserved to be known more widely, and so you wrote a play about it. And seeing, I think, from what I can tell, seeing that student, the happy ending of being able to, as a result of the play, really, and the play being performed and more widely known, you being able to persuade the parents to allow the student to go back and to education, and she becoming an engineer, that seems to have sown the seed, if you like, for this idea of the power of literature to be able to make real changes in students' lives. And so then the extension of actually asking the students to tell their own stories based on their own background, cultural interests,
sure,
has led to this, and promoting it widely through a competition and publishing the students and really celebrating those who are able to realize well their own stories is a really great idea.
Sure.
So I very much have enjoyed talking to you about this and admire this project. Larbi, thank you very much for participating in this show, for telling us all about this project and your journey, if you like, through creative writing, through your own creative writing, through encouraging students in your class and school to write, and then organizing it on a national basis. It's a really inspiring story. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much, Graham, for allowing me and giving me this opportunity now to talk to your audience. And thank you, everyone who was listening to us and enjoying what we do. And once more, I really would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to share with the world our story and our love for literature and creative writing.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out. Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading.
Introducing Reading Solutions UK. Home to Dreambox Reading Plus, the online reading development program, improving outcomes for students and schools nationwide. Create stronger readers in your school from Key Stage 2 to beyond GCSE, using Reading Plus's evidence-based adaptive technology. Reading Plus accurately assesses your students' skills gaps and places them on a personalised learning pathway, built to accelerate their strengths and improve on their areas for development. You can try the program with a free 4-week pilot today. Search Reading Solutions UK to find their website and request your free pilot today.
How can you show your students the opportunities that await them? How can you fuel their aspirations and motivate them to achieve? Future Careers provides a wealth of stimulating resources aimed at encouraging 14 to 19-year-olds to pursue careers in STEM and SHAPE. We help you to show your students what they can aim for and how. From articles to activity sheets, animations to podcasts, all our resources align with Gatsby benchmarks and are free for you and your students to download. Visit futurumcareers.com and subscribe today. Futurum Careers, helping teachers to inspire the next generation.
Get set for the year ahead with the Bloomsbury Education Back to School sale. Save 30% on all Bloomsbury education books until 30th September. From the very best in research-led practice to trusted advice on inclusivity, behaviour and curriculum design, we've got something for everyone. Visit bloomsbury.com/B2S sale to shop now and save 30%. Bloomsbury Education, books for every step of your teaching journey.
Teachers, mark your calendars for BetUK 2025, the world's biggest EdTech event. Join over 30,000 educators at the Excel London from the 22nd to the 24th of January. Discover the latest EdTech innovations, network with peers and access hundreds of hours of CPD. Did we mention it's 100% free for educators? Whether you're looking for inspiration or practical tools to enhance your teaching, BET has it all. Don't miss this opportunity to shape the future of education. Register today at uk.betshow.com. That's uk.betshow.com.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Education.
So, thank you, everybody. That brings us to the end of today's Sunday lunchtime show. Many thanks to today's special guest, Larbi, and to all of you who joined us live, and also to those listening back to the recording. And so that's it from me. There are Teachers.radio shows all week on all manner of interesting topics, so please listen in live or to the recordings. And I hope you will join me again next week at the same time. Bye for now.
You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.